Welcome to Small Business, Big Network, the podcast for small business owners who want big results from their networking. I'm Liz Drury, a freelance voiceover artist who knows that if you're not working, then networking could help. Céleste RR is a trademark specialist, and she's known as the Empress of Trademarks. She says that networking is very important in her business and thinks that most of her referrals have come to her that way. Thank you very much for being my guest on the podcast today, Céleste.
Thank you so much for having me, Liz. I'm looking so much forward to this.
Now, I'm sure people have spotted straight away that you're not British, so tell us where you're from and how you came to be here.
So I was born originally in Denmark, and I actually lived abroad in my 20s, and one of the places that I lived was actually down in London. So I think that my soul just wanted me to come back here because I wasn't thriving in Denmark anymore, you see.
And how long have you been in the UK now?
So I've been here a little bit more than 4 years now.
Right, very good. Now, you're a trademark expert, but what's your background?
I say specialist.
Specialist, fair
Yes.
enough, trademark specialist. But what's your background? How did you get to be working in this field?
So I started studying the law when I was 35, and I didn't start straight away because I managed to make myself believe along the way that I wasn't intelligent enough. So I suffered from comparisonitis, and comparing myself to not just my older brother who had his arm twisted around to study the law, I also compared myself to our maternal grandfather who created his own legal or founded his own legal empire. So there was a lot of unhealthy comparison going on for me. And then when I turned 30, I realized, hang on, I'm asking my older brother all these questions of a legal nature, and he can't necessarily answer them for me. I'm going to have to do this myself. and then it took another 4 years to pluck up the courage to apply, and then I got accepted for the following year. So I was 35 when I got in and studied the law, and I was like, oh my goodness, I have finally found what I am meant to do in life, so.
Yeah. And where did you study?
At the University of Copenhagen.
And was it a long course to qualify?
Well, considering the fact that I failed nearly all the subjects in the first year, yes.
But you persevered, so clearly it was
did.
something you felt really drawn to doing.
Yes, absolutely. And also the fact that I had wanted to do it when I was younger. I just made myself believe I wasn't intelligent enough. So obviously the draw was there, or the pull, or whatever you want to call it. But I just didn't think I was intelligent enough. Stupidly, that was what I thought. Sillily, that was what I thought. Because I'm not stupid actually. But it's just a silly thing to think, isn't it? That we compare ourselves unfavorably to somebody else. But then what I actually did was I looked at women or young women around me, actually at my equestrian club, who had studied the law. And I was like, okay, she has studied the law and she's not more intelligent than me. If she can do it, then maybe so can I. And I did that with 5 different women in total. And that was how I got to the conclusion that maybe I can actually do this. And I did, and I totally loved it. And so when I got to the master's degree, I decided to string it out a bit because the first 3 years are so massively and crazily intensive. And there's like so much to read and so much to learn, and I didn't know at the time that I'm dyslexic.
Right.
If I had known that, I would have been given more time to sit my exams and stuff like that. But I didn't know that until afterwards. So when I finally got that diagnosis, I was like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So once you'd done your degree and your master's degree and you qualified, was trademarking something you immediately went to work in, or was there something else in between?
So I started out actually while I was studying, working for the Artists' Legal Aid. I come from a long line of creative and innovative people. My mother was a ceramic artist. My paternal grandfather was a painter. I have an uncle who's a film director. I have a cousin who's won La Palme d'Or in Cannes. He's a film director. I have another cousin who's a musician. My maternal great-great-grandfather was an actor and a playwright. My great-grandfather was an actor. My maternal great-grandfather was an actor. So, it's not something that's new to me, the language of artists. I've been around artists my entire life, and so it made sense for me to start working for the Artists' Legal Aid. And I did that for nearly 4 years. And then when I was done with that, I tried finding employment with various different law firms. To be completely honest, writing job applications has never been my strong point. I don't know. The times that I have got jobs, I don't know why they picked me in particular. But I didn't get any job offers from any law firms, and I did get an internship with a law firm that I really wanted to work for. And this lady who gave me the internship, she sat me down one day and said, "Why do you want to be a solicitor?" And I was like, well, and I can't remember what I said, but, I thought at the time that was what I had to do.
Yeah.
But she said, "I think that it's actually to your advantage that you're not." And she may have not only just thought of who I am as a person, but also the fact that I wear collars. I wear strong collars, as you know. And I don't blend in with the wallpaper or the carpet on the floor. So I think when she said that, I took it to heart, and I was like, okay, she's right. It is to my advantage that I'm not a solicitor. And also, so many people feel that they can't really trust solicitors. And, if you hand anything over to them, the fees that you end up paying are astronomical. And I'm somebody who's actually created different packages so that my clients don't get the unexpected fees at the end of it. And I take payment up front. So that they know what's going on and what's what.
So when did you start your business? How long ago now?
8 years.
And you're known, certainly your title on LinkedIn, as the Empress of Trademarks. How did you come by that title for yourself?
So it was actually because a lot of people were referring to me as the Queen of Trademarks. And so obviously, being me, I made a search, and there's actually somebody in America who has registered Queen of Trademarks, but with the caveat that Queen is generic and cannot be registered. So I thought, okay, well, I can't call myself that because I do not want to pass myself off that way when I know, and I know, I'm not even going to try to register the Empress of Trademarks because to me that's just too generic. It's just what people have referred to me as affectionately, and I quite like Empress,
Yeah, I think it suits you. So let's talk a bit about trademarks then. So can you explain really simply what a trademark is?
So a trademark is actually the mark that helps distinguish your business from everybody else's business. It can also be referred to as an island of exclusivity in a sea of non-exclusive rights. So it means that you've got this little island actually where you can defend and protect all of your creations. So say, for instance, that you have this podcast of yours. You might want to protect it a bit more than just. You might want to protect it in a bit stronger way than just Liz's podcast. So maybe you get a logo created for it, or maybe you even say to me, "Look, Céleste, I know that you have this academy where you help people find trademarks. I don't have any trademark. Can you help me? And of course, I will say, yes, Liz, I can help you. Because I have the legal background, so I know and understand what goes into a trademark. And also in the package goes either a sound mark or a graphic representation. So you get an awful lot out of the package. But I'm not here to promote that. So I just wanted to tell you about that. You could also say, look, Celeste, I have this thing, and could you help me understand if this is something that I can register as my trademark? And then I will have a look, and then I will honestly tell you, this is not something I can register. I may even use the word irregistrable. It's a word that I made up. So it's not unregistrable, it's irregistrable. And I haven't trademarked that either because I don't think I can.
So what kind of things can't be trademarked then? Can you give us some examples?
So anything that's generic. So say, for instance, we all are familiar with Apple and what they do, right? Apple is a tech giant. They didn't start out as a giant, but they started out as a tech business. They were creating computers back in the day only. And to begin with, Steve Jobs has wanted to have this very elaborate image of Sir Isaac Newton sat at the foot of an apple tree with an apple dropping towards his head, and a lot of stuff written around the edge of it. But that is too difficult to have as to register as a trademark. First of all, it's not instantly recognizable, and second of all, it might have been too generic even. I can't remember what it looked like exactly, but I don't think that was generic, but I think it was just that it wasn't instantly recognizable. The long of the short story is that he then had an apple in his hand that he had just taken a bite out of, and he said, let's use this. Now, had he been somebody selling fruit, he wouldn't have been able to register it as a trademark, you see, because that would be descriptive. So anything that's descriptive and generic, you cannot register as a trademark. So, like Liz's podcast, it's called Clean Feed, and they've put TM next to it. TM doesn't give you any kind of protection. So TM just signifies that that they consider it a trademark. It isn't a registered one.
Right.
So the R in the circle, like if you have a makeup bag and you rummage through it, you can take out various little items. I looked at my eyeliner the other day, and there are little R's and circles on there, and that means that it is a registered trademark. Those that have the TM, they haven't bothered actually to register the trademark. That's the difference.
Right, okay. So once something has been trademarked, what can or can't be done with that thing?
So you can do an awful lot with it. As you know, I've written a book called Control Your Own Copyright, Trademark and More, and on every single page of that book is my trademark, because that way it's not only protected by the copyright legislation, it's also protected by my trademark.
So at what point in a product development or product evolution should people start considering trademarking?
They should consider it from the very beginning, because it is, and a lot of these people who know and understand about intellectual property in general, they have IP portfolios, as they're called, and they strategically use not only their trademark but also other types of intellectual property. So it depends very much on what kind of business you have and what it is that you do. But say you were someone who had it's World Cancer Day tomorrow, and say you were somebody who had invented a new and exciting cure for cancer, then you would most certainly straight away consider taking out a patent for this, first of all. Second of all, you would consider a trademark. And of course, for all the written material, you would have copyrights. So all of these different, and you might even have trade dress in there as well, and trade secrets. So there are a lot of things to consider, and there are a lot of a lot of reasons why you want to protect what you create, because the whole point behind the legislation, the intellectual property legislation, is to give a financial reward to those who innovate and create in our society. And so all the medical companies, they have patents and they have trademarks, they have copyright clauses on all the written material they put out there, and they do all these things together so that they have the strongest possible shield of protection. If you remember my trademark, it's actually a coat of arms, and I always point to that when I get to the point of having a strong shield of protection, because it is a shield of protection. And then of course once the trademark is registered and the patent is registered, then the trademark needs to be monitored, because you cannot leave it alone, because there's only a 2-month opposition period in which to fight off infringers.
Right.
So you have to be really, really careful and not leave it alone. And this is one of the things that I'm really excited about with blockchain, because blockchain will make that part of the business so much easier for us, because once something is on the blockchain, it cannot be tampered with, and not in the unseen, and it's really, really difficult to register something that is already on the blockchain as an infringement. So it would be so much easier for me and people like me when we have that kind of technology to help us. And I know that WIPO, which is World Intellectual Property Organization, they are working on it. They have recently published a massive white paper. I've only read the executive summary of it, and it's really exciting, I feel, because it will also enable us to register trademarks, much easier. So and do it all over the world. At the moment, there are certain countries where, I don't even know if I can, like in Africa, I don't know if I can register trademarks there. So it's really, really interesting and exciting times ahead, I feel.
So is trademarking something that's expensive to do? And how long does the process take?
So if you are very, very brave, you can try yourself. However, I don't recommend that, because you may not catch all of the different niche classifications that you actually require for your business. If you just take out one niche classification, well, if somebody else comes along and does something and registered is in a different classification, then you might think, oh my goodness, I actually wanted that as well. And then you realize that you've made a mistake. Yeah. And once the money's got into the trademark authority's system, you cannot get it back no matter what. So I do not recommend that people do it on their own, because they end up wasting time, money and energy, and get frustrated into the bargain as well. I have created a blueprint if people don't want to pay for my services, because my services are a high-end type service, because I have never yet had a trademark rejected. I've had one that I needed to adjust, but never one that was rejected. So that's why my services are high-end. And if they don't want to pay me, then they can, of course, pay for the blueprint that I've created. It will also take them through, but it still won't be me, my knowledge, my expertise. It's, it's part of my expertise, of course, but it's not entirely the same.
So let's have a chat about networking now then. Is networking something that you do for your business?
Oh, absolutely. I totally love it. And the networking group that you and I have met in is the Creative Collective. And now people would think that for somebody who studied the law, that's not relevant. But as I said before, because I come from a long line of creative and innovative people, I absolutely adore creative and innovative people. Plus, it's very important for them also to learn about intellectual property. Not that we have much time, to present our businesses, but when we go into those smaller rooms and we talk, they will pick up stuff along the way, and maybe they will buy my book, or and that's fine. I'm not even looking for clients in that setting. I'm just looking to connect with these beautiful souls, because that's how I see all of them. And it's important to get this message out there, because so many people just ignore it because they think, oh my goodness, it's too complex.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I do network, and I do other networking groups as well. I'm in quite a few. I'm in Athena, and I'm in something called the Fab Network, and I'm in something called Internations, which I don't use much. And LinkedIn, of course, is one big networking platform anyway, isn't it?
Absolutely. Is business networking something that's popular in Scandinavia, do you know?
Yes, very. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I did it in Denmark as well, and I know that they do it in Sweden too. So, and it wouldn't surprise me if they did it in Norway as well. So yeah, no, it's not a new thing. It's a global thing.
Yeah. So what difference would you say that networking has made to your business?
So I get quite a few recommendations from different groups that I'm in. So it makes a big difference. I think that's actually the majority of my clients. They come from recommendations. So that's really interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It shows how important it is to go and do networking.
Definitely, yeah.
So what do you have any tips you would like to give people on how to network well?
How to network well? I would say, even if you're scared, and it's difficult to say but do it anyway, because it can feel scary. I know that, because I'm an ambivert. And ambiverts prefer to sit in a corner with a book, just like the introvert. But then I also have the extroverted bit, which is like a persona that I take on, almost like if you were an actor or an actress, and you have this other persona that you go into to perform the part. It's like that almost, that you take on this other persona and you go and do it. And I know that it's difficult for very, very introverted people, because for them, small talk is difficult. However, I know that if you pay attention to yourself and you take care of yourself, just try and single out other people who seem like introverts, because that's the deep connections that you can make.
Yeah, definitely. So if people want to find out more about you, Céleste, your book, your blueprint, your academy, you've got so many things going on. What's the best way for people to connect and get in touch with you?
The very best way is LinkedIn, of course. So my name is Céleste Reutemann-Reifen. I don't expect anyone to be able to pronounce my two last names.
It will be in the show notes.
And I know that you and I are connected on LinkedIn, so you can hopefully pop the details for that in the show notes. But LinkedIn is definitely the best method of contacting me. If people find my website, which is grandipr.dk, which is weird, but that was because I bought the domain while I still lived in Denmark. I also have .uk and .co.uk. There's just no website up there. So, and even though it's .dk, it is all in English. So don't worry about that.
Lovely. Well,
and my book is written directly in English as well.
Oh, good. That's good to know. Well, thank you very much for being my guest. That's been absolutely fascinating finding out about trademarks, and I look forward to seeing you at a networking meeting soon.
Yes, me too. And thank you so much for having me. It was a great honour to be here. I really enjoyed the experience. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Small Business, Big Network. If you found this podcast useful, please do rate, review and subscribe. And don't forget to share it with the rest of your network too.